Say today. Now, a taxi driver has been arrested on the N1 near Toes River in the Western Cape after being caught overtaking a string of vehicles in the face of oncoming traffic. Western Cape Traffic Chief Kenny Africa says the driver forced many drivers into the yellow lane and pushed others completely off the road surface. Any Rate Africa says the arrogant driver kept on driving against the traffic flow by flashing his lights at the oncoming vehicles as if the road belonged to him. We look into road safety, specifically focusing on taxis this festive season. As you may know, that Transport Minister Dr. Nzimande recently launched the festive season road safety awareness and education campaign. This, of course, he did in collaboration with the taxi council SANTACO. The taxi industry is set to contribute largely to the road fatalities, more so during periods such as a festive season. We look into the plans by the taxi council for safety on our roads this festive season with Thabiso Molelekoa. He, of course, is the South African National Taxi Council spokesperson, and he joins me now live from our studios in Pretoria. Thabiso, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through. Now, the minister launched the department's safety plan last week. Let's just talk about alternative plans that SANTACO have for the festive season.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to the viewers. Thank you for the opportunity. This year, what we have done, we have moved away from the way we've been doing things, which has been mainly on the road, where we do joint roadblocks with traffic or law enforcement rather. What we have done this year, we have combined roadblocks together with what we call rank activations. At rank activations, what we do normally thorough taxi inspections through our various structures countrywide. So major ranks are being targeted across the country, where our officials will be getting into those ranks, making inspections to check if these vehicles are fit for undertaking long trips especially. But we are also engaging with commuters to check if ever they are having a pleasant experience with the way in which we are servicing them as a taxi industry. What is also important to note is that there are marked vehicles which are identified as hlokomela, which commuters and all other road users can use to interact with us, as those vehicles are mainly out there to do patrol and monitoring to ensure that our taxis are compliant on the road. Also, what I need to mention is that we have done this in strong partnership with the Transport CETA, or the Transport Training and Education Authority, which is our partner during this festive season, to ensure that we are able to also do such road safety and compliance through educational means.
And how has this Operation Hlokomela helped or assisted perhaps in terms of reducing the number of road accidents since its inception in about when? 2012?
2010, yes. Before 2010, taxis were the highest contributory factor to contribution. They made the highest contribution to road fatalities on the road, standing at about 13%. So from 2010, when we introduced the Hlokomela campaign to date, we are now standing at about 3%, between 3 and 5% of road fatalities. But we are saying it's not enough as SANTACO, because one taxi is one life. It's too many lives involved, too many extended families involved, and this is why we have gone all out with our officials on the road to and at the ranks as well, to ensure that we are able to bring this number completely down. We are having specific dates on which we are very active. On the 18th, on the 19th, we will be very active. On the 23rd, we will be very active also in the ranks. As I speak to you in Polokwane, where we had one of the problematic ranks, we have our people right there who are busy looking at vehicles and interacting with commuters to ensure that we are able to provide them with a reliable and safe transport service.
All right, let's just talk a little bit about drivers' behavior, Thabiso. We're reporting, I've just read a story now that a taxi driver has been arrested on the N1 near Toes River, and I think this is the very same place where 12 people lost their lives this past weekend. The driver was driving, overtaking a string of vehicles in the face of oncoming traffic. Surely this speaks to the behavior of taxi drivers.
That is true. And this is why we see our partnership with Transport Training and Education Authority as quite strategic, because one of the things that we want to do, more than just making or enforcing the law, making arrests and so on, we want to ensure that our drivers are rehabilitated to understand the importance of complying with the rules of the road. It is true, this driver who has overtaken a string of vehicles at Toes River is the very same area where 12 people lost their lives. We were reported that by our official in the Western Cape, and we are quite concerned because that is not the area really that has got or that causes that has got a lot of which would be termed as a high accident zone. Just after Lainsburg is the area where you've got high accidents. So it means then we'll have to readjust our operation as SANTACO in that area to ensure that our operators are compliant and drivers. Yeah. But we also want to urge commuters, especially those who feel their lives are threatened by the driving behavior of a driver, to engage with us. We are on the road,
but
we are on Twitter.
What is SANTACO doing? I think the question really here is, what is SANTACO doing about taxi drivers' behavior? There is an academy that was set to be in operation back in 2012 that was set to focus on this particular issue. What happened to the academy?
The academy is operational. Where we have a group of drivers that are being trained as we speak. Unfortunately, we are not able to do all at once, so it will be on a rotational basis. At the moment, we're looking at Free State, and we will then be rotating them from time to time, going province to province to ensure that we are able to rehabilitate behavior. But importantly, what I need to mention is that while we are waiting for that training and empowerment of drivers, we cannot afford or accept bad behavior on the road. Those drivers who are reckless, once found, it is our call as SANTACO that uncompromised law enforcement must take place, especially if the lives of commuters have been put at risk. The issue in Toes River of the one who has been arrested, we will be making a follow-up. We will be making sure that law enforcement and punishment is exercised upon this driver. And we will also internally be ensuring that the association involved, where the driver comes from, is given this matter and they are able to deal with it accordingly.
Yeah, but I think what is even more worrying, Thabiso, is the fact that this is only the beginning of the festive season. This past weekend only, 12 people lost their lives in Toes River, as we said, and another 13 lost their lives on the R49 between Mahikeng and Zeerust in the Northwest Province. This is very worrying.
It is, but when you look at the Northwest, the report that we got in the Northwest was that the accident was not really caused by the taxi. And this is also another worrying factor that we have as SANTACO, that unfortunately the taxi happened to have, carry many lives, and despite who is at the wrong, so many lives get lost in the course of that. And this is why we are saying that while we are mostly following routes that historically have been high accident roads rather, we will readjust our operation to ensure that we are able to look at those areas that are becoming serious danger spots for taxi operations countrywide, and will then therefore deploy our officials, our teams, to ensure that we are able to deal with bad behavior on the road of our taxis.
All right. Thank you so much for coming through. Thabiso Molelekoa is SANTACO's spokesperson, talking to us about the alternative plans, or rather plan of action for the festive season in terms of trying to curb road fatalities on our roads. We're taking a quick ad break here on SA Today. There's still so much more to come. Don't go away.
The great bank heist.
It was brazen. It was quick.
One thought we're perhaps looking at figures much, much lower. Right. It's almost 2 billion.
It was shared amongst very greedy VBS executives and politically connected individuals. You are listed in that report. Did you steal money?
The narrative that they're trying to create is proven wrong by Advocate Mtao's report himself. He said in point 59 that he could not find a definitive wrongdoing, anything factually.
The misleading information which Daily Maverick has is deliberate. It's part of the whole propaganda machinery. You can challenge this poly Fanville to bring us the so-called evidence that I received 10 million. It's pure insanity.
Is there any prospect whatsoever of saving VBS?
We are not as confident as we were when we started the curatorship.